Wow. Wow. Oh, wow. I cannot believe how great of an episode that was. Words seriously can't even describe how I feel about that episode, but for some reason, before I jump right into it, my OBS is not letting me move out of here. So let's figure out what's going on. I'm going to move OBS over to here for now, because for some reason it will not let me stream without this. Okay, there we go. So here I am. Hello. Think about any way to end a TV show, whether it's Sopranos, Game of Thrones, even Breaking Bad or something of the sort. Look, even Ozark. Usually most shows really have a hard time trying to figure out how to end it because it's not, it's hard to do, especially when you have so many story points and so many things going on. But Better Call Saul's season 6, episode 13, I literally couldn't think of a more perfect way for the show to end. And for them to even bring back characters like, spoiler alert, what's her name? I forget her name. Betsy Brandt, I think, is the name of the lady who plays it, Hank Schrader's wife, Marie. Them to bring her back, for them to bring Chuck McGill back, for them to bring Walter White back in the scene that I'm so glad of all scenes that they brought back, them in the jail cell or the prison cell with Ed the Disappearer. Just words can't even describe how amazing that episode was. So I'm going to do what I do each time. I'm going to jump right into Reddit's immediate reactions to it. Some of this is still pretty live because it's happening as we go. So that's going to be fun, but we're going to move over here. Hopefully my audio is on there, and it is. So oh man, I haven't had a moment to collect my thoughts, so I'm going to run through these Reddit posts, and then we'll go from there, and I guess I'll give my thoughts as they go. But just off the bat, before I even jump in, literally a perfect ending. It was obvious he was going to go to jail, but the way he did it was just so great. And to see Kim and Jimmy there together, enjoying the last cigarette, paralleling, Skin Ba, one of the mods, enjoy the last ever live episode of the Breaking Bad universe. It is really sad to see, and it's sad to see that I just started doing this, yet this is the last episode, so there's not much more else to do. So let's jump right in. We have from R. Vasta X Guy. Jimmy comes clean. I love it. He's not going to live his life out as a Heisenberg. Yeah, I totally agree. And I love the way he did it. And I love even at the end when everyone's calling him Saul. He's like, no, it's Jimmy. And I love that he finally confessed in front of everyone, in front of Marie Schrader, confessing to everyone the way he did. It felt like such a good ending. And then to see the whole episode, these parallels with Mike and him talking about the time machine, then to see Walter White and him talking about the time machine, then to see Chuck and him talk the H.G. Wells book, The Time Machine, which has been referenced in the show multiple times. It really is an amazing come full circle sort of thing. None of the cameos in it, whether it's Chuck's, Marie's, even Walt's, or Mike's for that matter, none of them felt cheap. They all felt like they served a really strong purpose, and it was just a masterful ending. So up next we have from Raising Cane's 19. So Jimmy was just as petty as I thought he was going to be, but it was just pettiness toward Oakley and not Kim, lol. Huh. Yeah, I guess that's interesting. I didn't think about it that way. Don't really have much of a thought on that. Let's see. Duncan Egg says James greater than Saul, greater than Gene, greater than Saul, greater than James. I like that. Let's see. Let's see what else we got here. From Dr. C2, Jimmy McGill, not Saul, not Gene, not Victor, but Jimmy has finally redeemed himself and is willing to accept and face the consequences of his actions. I think that's what I liked the most about this episode, was it was finally him coming to terms with who he was. And then also, now that I'm thinking about this, there was that amazing parallel of him in the dumpster, like it was in, I think it was season 2 when he was discovering Sandpiper. There was him in the dumpster, and then it ended by him being caught. He did it for himself. Instead of Bill Oakley defending him, he defended himself. And then I liked the way at the end, when you see him in jail, you see him kind of getting recognized by people, kind of being liked by people. You could tell that in this next part of his life, he's okay with being there. He's upset saying goodbye to Kim. At least they shared a cigarette, yada, yada, yada. But it was so great to see all of that and to see how he's already conforming to prison. The only thing I was a little bummed about is that when he was in prison, I felt like it was a good opportunity for them to switch back to color, because you could, or in the, whatever you call it, the meet and greet room, it was interesting to see that the cigarette's light was lit, but everything else wasn't. Maybe it's because they were sharing cigarettes together previously. I don't know why. I'm not going to hypothesize. I clearly need a minute to, like, calm down. I'm kind of fangirling here because that was a fantastic episode of television. Seriously, among all of Better Call Saul, that was probably the best episode, easily. And it's the last episode, which, like I said, usually it's a very hard feat for a show to have, like, the best episode be the last episode. Usually it takes a little bit to get there, but no, not this one. So I just went off on a tangent. But here's another one from K8 Womack. Loved it. They stuck the landing. Completely agree. It's funny because before I came on stream, I was telling myself that I was going to have everything written out. I was going to come in prepared. And look at this. I even started to try to write something here. Better Call Saul finale thoughts. Amazing parallel in the time machine. That's all I got to write because I was so fixated on the episode itself. It was so good. And then right under it we have, here I'm going to move over, I'm on OBS again, I'm going to move over, the Pipe Bomb 11 says, God fuck, this is so great. And then, I'm not even going to say that, SUCDIC 69, it is me, Better Call Saul. So I think because I'm a little bit ahead of the actual televised version of this, I think I'm getting people who are currently watching the episode still, which is why I probably should have started a little bit, a little bit after everyone saw it. But let's see what we got here. Slit Throat Cut Creator says, now we need a prison bus to chant Breaking Bad. Yeah, that was pretty interesting, and honestly, I thought the show was going to end when it did, but it didn't. I think I'm having a problem with my live stream. What happened here? No, I'm actually not having a problem with my live stream. It's just, hold on. One second before we jump back into it. 1 second. Because I think I'm having problems with, I'm using Sidecar today, and Sidecar on my Mac sometimes is buggy, especially because I'm on a beta. So that's always fun. Let's see, I'm going to disconnect. Alright, so I'm still streaming there. Okay, so I'm back here. Let's see what else we got. From Jack Knife, he will always be Saul Slippin' Jimmy no matter how hard he tries. Totally agree. Even in prison, that's exactly what he was doing. Yeah. So I think, like I said, I think this is a lot of what's happening live because people are still watching it from cable. So while that Chuck coming out, and it was one of my favorite shots in the whole episode was at the very end when you see Kim on one side and Jimmy on the other, and they're both, they're both blocked by the bars. And it was just really great to see that. And now at the end, they finally have somewhat of a mutually assured respect for one another. The only thing I didn't understand, though, that I'm trying to, I guess, wrap my head around was in the episode, Kim said something about, and I'm going to obviously have to go back and watch, but she said something about New Mexico, the bar something doesn't expire. So did she ever resign from being a lawyer? I didn't quite get that. I want to go back and watch that because I feel like they left that a little open-ended. I think Vince Gould and Peter Gilligan are definitely... Did I just say... Oh my god, this is how flustered I am from this episode. I just said Vince Gould and Peter Gilligan. It's Peter Gould and Vince Gilligan. That's... Oh my gosh. Anyway... I think they somewhat left it open for maybe a spin-off with Kim, but I highly doubt it. I know Vince Gould, and Peter Gilligan. I'm going to stick with it this time because, yeah. I think they left it somewhat open for that to be a possibility, even though they both said that this was it. So I guess we'll have to wait and see with that. But, guys, I just absolutely loved this episode. I've never been such fangirly over an episode of TV. I'm trying to go back and see if anything's updated here. Let's see. Here, I'm going to switch back to OBS because I think maybe the episode's over, or at least it's ending. So Trailer Park Snark, that's funny, said in the end it was going to be one big love story between two very troubled people. Yeah, I completely agree with that, and I'm glad to see that even in the end they still have that, like I said, the mutually assured respect for one another. They still have that, that love, and it didn't go away even after all this time. Let's see. Jive Turkey 1983 says, it's the feds. With good behavior, he'll be out in 83 years instead of 86. That's true. My Nindao 2 says 7 years, 7 years. Yeah, I guess it was a little bit disappointing to see in the beginning. It was a bit disappointing to see that he gave all of that away, but I'm so glad from a character perspective that he did, because it made him actually kill Howard or kill Chuck. 86 years is so fucking dumb. Ruined the whole show for me. But what's dumb? Okay, I gotta comment on this. I'm sorry. What's dumb about that? I don't even know what else I'm gonna say, but I am genuinely curious what's dumb about that. I thought it was very fitting. And I like how we're both Vecna underneath the thing here. Ruined the whole show for me. I don't understand that one, Barca class football. They didn't actually kill Howard or kill Chuck. No, they didn't, but they told the story, and that honestly didn't really have relevance to what Jimmy was confessing to. That's why Kim's not arrested or anything. Like, talking about Howard. I'm not really sure I'm understanding what the big deal of that is and that significance, but whatever. Flintlock 0 said, Kim will wait. He'll be like 120, but who knows? Yeah, maybe they'll do a spin-off or a sequel of Better Call Saul where it's like Better Call the two of them when they're like way older. Just joking, they're definitely not going to do that. Awesome Alan 1 said, just like old times, damn. Yeah, those shots of them smoking the cigarette together was a perfect parallel to the first episode. Let's see. Creepy Demon said, this is the best anyone ever could have hoped for. The finger guns from Jimmy broke me. Yeah, I completely agree with that. And that's why I'm so shook up right now, because I thought the ending was going to be good. I didn't think it was going to be this good. Obviously, I'm going to need to go back and rewatch a couple times, because this is now my new favorite episode of the show. But I thought it was just going to be a good wrap-up to the story. Not a... Wait, hold on. As I'm thinking about that, I just remember that one of my theories in the last video that they will never go back to Jeff, and Jeff will just remain in custody, and that's exactly what happened. We saw Marion in the very beginning for like a second, but where's Jeffy? Jeffy's still in prison. He's still, or in custody at least. I just thought that was so funny because we predicted that, it came true. I'm glad we also said something about Chuck coming back, it came true. I'm not saying it was like us that did it, but I'm glad to see that predictions that we had that we thought made a lot of sense, they actually did come true. It was really good to see. So let me go back here and let's go over there. I wish I didn't show OBS on these streams, but because I was using Sidecar on my iPad, but for some reason it wasn't working, so I guess we're just gonna toss that away. Alright, so the next thing is from Stomach said, did they give the cigarette cherry color? Yeah, that's what it looked like. And again, I think this is still live feeding, so I'm gonna refresh here real quick, see what we got. Utter Ridiculousness says, the finale of Breaking Bad is still unrivaled. Huh. Yes, in a different way. Like, Breaking Bad's finale was very epic, guns a-blazing, he died in a meth lab, yada yada, but this was so character-fitting. Better than the finale of Breaking Bad? I don't know. I think they are on a similar wavelength for totally different reasons. Like, you could never compare this episode to Felina, Ozymandias, and I forget what's the other one? There's 3 of them. Anyway, you can never compare these last few episodes, or even this episode, to those. They're totally different stories. And yeah, you could always compare Breaking Bad versus Better Call Saul. I think Better Call Saul's better, and this definitely solidified that for me. But I think they're just so different that it's hard to compare the two of them. Sauce Esau says, I loved the ending. We all knew he was going to end up in jail, exactly. Saul won and got the 7 years. Jimmy won by finding redemption. Huh. Okay, that's very true. I didn't even think about that. So even though Saul got the 7 years because he really talked himself into that and it would have worked, even though he did, Jimmy McGill at his heart didn't, and he was okay with going to jail. That's a really good analogy. See, this is stuff that, like, I'm going to do a final review of the show / a final last episode video instead of a live stream, because clearly I'm like, I'm all over the place because I'm still, you know, coming off of that high of that episode. But this is a really interesting analogy, and I actually really like that. So Saul won and got 7 years. Jimmy won by finding redemption. Yep. So Pray Day the Mice said, mixed feelings on the ending, to be honest. It didn't help AMC running ads every other scenes. It killed the pacing. When The Walking Dead comes back on, I'm definitely waiting for an online copy with no ad breaks. Fuck 'em. Yeah, I agree. That's why I got AMC Plus. Thank God I have a big boy job at this point, because I was definitely not watching shows with ads. Not this show. This show is too... I don't say this in a bad way. It's not even an idiosyncrasy of the show. It's just the type of show it is. But this show is very slow-paced and dialogue-driven, and I feel like ads would just ruin that pacing. So for this, I'm happy to pay $8 a month, and now I'm going to cancel it because I'm never going to use AMC Plus again. Even with The Walking Dead, I don't really care to see that. I'll be okay seeing that with ads because, I don't know, that show's not as good as it used to be anyway. But... yeah, that's why I don't watch it on cable anymore. Critzy27 says, well, that was perfect. Some of you guys got the components of that perfectly. Yeah. And I'm glad our predictions video had a couple things in there that worked. That's pretty cool. Runaway Meat Stick says, what a horrendously terrible series finale. Huh. I'm going to come to the defense here. Okay, in what way? I mean, seriously, in what way? I'm going to downvote that one because it's not true. Alright, Tread Lightly 94 says, Felina felt like a much better ending, and it feels like they overreacted to people thinking Walt got away with it too much. I'm not sure I'm understanding that one, so I'm going to come back to it. Different Engine 4892 says, was shocked to see Marie, then I thought we might see Skylar and Marie for moral support. Actually, so did I, but I kind of liked that they didn't because it told enough on its own to show that if she wasn't there for moral support, it means they still have a pretty strained relationship. So I was okay with that. Safe Ad 7329 says, what the fuck is that shitty ending? Again, I disagree. I thought this was literally the picture perfect way to... I'm just going to throw it out there. Ozark, Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones. What else? I don't know. Ton of other shows out there. Yada yada. You get what I'm saying. Boardwalk Empire. I could go on, but none of them had like an ending that was so character fitting. Maybe Boardwalk Empire because I really liked the way that ended, but that was a totally different thing. Anyway, my argument is pretty fragile there. So the point I'm making is I don't understand how people thought this was a shitty ending. I guess art is to be interpreted in different ways. It's just me. I thought it was perfect. That's all I'm going to say. AVS Fan 96 says, guess we'll see season 7 in around 2098 when he gets out. Yep, that's true. Smarma _ says, Kim and Jimmy were one of my all-time favorite TV couples, so yeah, I'm ugly crying. Well, I wasn't crying, but I definitely did feel, it was definitely bittersweet to see. American Aurora 2, so who's ready for 1 million That's It post years? See, I don't get that. They wrapped this show up with a bow. I don't understand that at all. So... I'm going to go past that. Lime Liquor 7. Why is everyone sad? I'm just glad the prisoners gave us that bop of a Better Call Saul chant. Yeah, that was pretty good. Smelly Selfie says, I hated that. Okay. What someone else would have wanted out of this other than what we got. Logically, this ending just made sense in every which way. And there was a little bit of wishy-washy in this when it was Jimmy just up there admitting everything. In a real court case, I'd be shocked to see that ever happen. And I'm no lawyer, I'm no anything like that, but realistically speaking, I mean, I think that was a little far-fetched, but there's no complaint there on my end. I loved the way it was executed. This is television. It's not real life, so I'm okay with it being not perfect on the grand scheme of realism, even though this show is grounded in extremely real realism. And again, I don't know everything about the law, so I don't even know where that stands, but I'm not sure what people would have expected other than this. I feel like this was the only logical conclusion. Okay, so I'm going to go back in just for a couple more, and then I'm going to wrap it up because I got to go to work tomorrow. So Shay Sky says, I'm just finishing up a Breaking Bad rewatch. Can't wait to start Better Call Saul all over again. Yeah, me too. Migs97 says, no back to color, my heart just sank. Yeah, I kind of do agree with that. I was a little bummed to see that there was no color, but maybe they added the color in the cigarette to insinuate that sparks were still flying through the two of them, and that was the only little bit of color left in their life, is the sharing of something together. And sharing a cigarette was something they did a lot together, and it was them, and that's the only light left in their life, or at least in Jimmy's life, because we haven't really seen it from Kim's perspective. Even though we haven't seen like this conclusive. Lowly Armrest says, crying, pissing, and shitting myself. I'd have to say I agree. I don't know if I'm pooping, peeing, or anything of the sort, but metaphorically, yes. Let's see. Lanky Seat says, y'all just upset Better Call Saul writers didn't give Saul unrealistic plot armor. Yeah, totally agree. This is exactly what I was saying. This ending was very real. It wasn't very far-fetched. It wasn't crazy. There was no real, like he's saying, no real plot armor like characters like Daryl and even Rick have in The Walking Dead and things like that. This was very real. I thought it was the only ending that made sense, and I thought it was just done perfectly. Let's see. B-Rich G says, this ending definitely left me wanting more. If that's what they were going for, they did a great job. I totally agree. And I'm going to end it there. I just want to reiterate one thing. After the events that took place with Howard Hamlin's murder, I would have loved to have seen a little bit more of a dive into Saul really becoming a little bit more of Saul, and also how he connected even closer with Mike and the cartel, in this case Gus and all them. I would have loved to have a little bit more of an explanation. That is honestly the only thing I could think that is left unanswered, I guess. And that's not even really left unanswered because they showed it and you could insinuate the rest. That's the only thing I could literally think at the moment. And again, because these are my immediate reactions, I'm going to be coming back to this, and I'm going to have more of an in-depth look at this. But just off the bat, that's the only thing I could think. Other than that, I can't think of a better ending for a show. Absolutely perfect. We'll see if those feelings remain when I actually watch it again and let this sink in, go to bed, if I'm even going to be able to go to bed after that episode. But the point I'm making is, I'm just blown away. This was fantastic TV. Bravo, Vince and Peter. Bravo. I don't know what else I'm going to say about it, so I think I'm just going to wrap it up there. If you liked this, make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe, yada yada yada. I'm not going to be doing TV show reviews all the time. I do want to branch out and just do normal vlogs, things I want to talk about. But if I like a show, I'm going to review it, and I don't just like Better Call Saul. I love it. So I'm glad they finished it as strongly as possible. I'm very upset we're not seeing anything else in the Breaking Bad universe, at least for now, probably forever, but at least for now. And with that, that's it. Until the next one, I'll see you later.